Hello again, Guyana, and welcome to Facing the Nation. I am Malika Ramsey. Thank you very much for joining me for another great week, another informative week. I trust that you would have had a productive week thus far, and you are looking forward to a nice, relaxing, fun-filled weekend, regardless of whatever it is that you plan to do. On today's program, I am happy to have a gentleman. Of course, he's not a stranger to Facing the Nation, but he's not been here as often as I would have liked him to be. Of course, as you know, last week I had the former regional chairman for region number 10. This week it is my pleasure also to have the current chairman. Was recently appointed chairman of region 10. Of course, as you know, that came after APNU AFC would have attained higher office, would have achieved victory at the May 2015 general and regional elections. So now we have a new regional chairman, region chairman for region number 10, Mr. Renis Morian. I should say Pastor Renis Morian. True. Because yes, he's already saying true because most of you know him as Pastor Renis Morian. Also coming up a little later on in the program, I am expecting the Minister of Social Protection to come and talk about some of the work that she has already begun in her sector and in her ministry. So definitely an informative one for you today. But for now, let's talk about and to Mr. Renis Morian. Welcome to you, sir, and thank you very much for accepting my invitation.
Well, first, let me give God praise and thanks for life, for making it possible that I could be here. I'm happy to be here on behalf of the people or the residents of Region 10.
All right. Before we get down to the real business of you improving the lives or working to improve the lives of the people of Region 10, let's talk about you, Pastor Morian. It's you're kind of not switching roles, but transforming from one role to the other role. How has it been thus far for you personally?
Well, it's just normal. I've been with the RDC for a number of years while I was pastoring, while I was working as a consultant with LEAP, while I was working with Ministry of Agriculture. I am with the church. A greater part of my life I am with the church, and I see serving people as part of the program of the church.
Okay, all right. What are your, or I should say, what have been some of your immediate challenges since you took office? I mean, I know it's only been a few weeks, but there must have been some.
Well, I don't want to say my challenges. I want to relate the challenges of the people of Region 10, and I will try to make the list very short. First of all, 80% of our food 85% of our food stuff come from outside of Region 10. Hence, we don't enjoy food security. We have a number of laterite pits in Region 10 that should have been economic ventures benefiting the residents of Region 10, but it's alleged that GGMC has given some of those pits in the previous government to other persons. We have a bauxite industry that at the moment we don't see it having the capacity to manage bauxite per se in Region 10. There are vast resources of bauxite in Region 10. We have unemployment among our young people, about 45 to 50%. We have our women folks who are unemployed. And I've recently discovered that there are persons within the regional democratic system who are earning $14,000 a month, and that's been going on for more than 10 years. And the list could go on and on. I came to this program before and I said, it seems like Region 10 is going through a period of creeping genocide. And I am still sticking with that. Anything that would marginalize the people, take away life, I call it genocide. And we were exposed to 23 years of taking away from us. So the task that I have along with my councillors, the task is to put things back in place to satisfy what is our motto of good life for all Guyans.
All right, you have said a lot, and I'm happy that you raised all of those issues and all of those challenges because sometimes in Georgetown we're somewhat, at times, in somewhat of a vacuum. We're not living in Region 10. We don't, of course, we don't reside in Region 10, so we don't know all of the ins and outs.
Yeah.
Just what is reported in the press. Unfortunately, sometimes those reports can be misleading depending on the media house that the reports come from. But first off, I want to talk about the food security issue
Yes.
now. You talk about the fact that the region has to depend from other regions
Yeah.
for food. Can that possibly be changed, and how soon, and what are some of the things you would have to
Okay,
put
let
in
me,
place?
let me give you two quick things. During the 2005 flood, I was part of a consultancy that did a study that relates to Region 10 producing agriculture stuff. And from all the facts and findings that we portray that Region 10 have the capacity, etc. What has not been happening is the previous government never truly, through the RDC, put money in our budget for agriculture. But when they're challenged, they would say, yes, we spent 350 million. Let me give you another challenge. The Burbis River used to produce corn, red peas, peanut, and a whole lot of stuff. The previous government sold the boat that would take that produce to market. Subsequently, that agriculture in Burbis just fell through. We have the capacity. What is needed is funding. We're looking for what we call sustainable development, and that calls for sustainable funding, and that calls for improvement or increased capacity. At the moment, we want to launch a pilot project in agriculture, just involving about 40 farmers. Why? We want to use their success as a catalyst that would cause other farmers to jump in for change. People say, look, agriculture has a place in Region 10. Apart from that, we want to look at agriculture as a business. You need to look at market trends, demand, supply, at what price is demanded, etc. So we are looking at agriculture region as a business, not just planting as a business. Hence, we would be placing in the 2016 budget huge sums for agriculture. We have the land, we have the people. What we need is the will and the commitment of the decision makers to fund our projects.
Once you get this funding that's required and you're able to put all of the systems in place, how soon do you see the region developing and getting back on its feet? And this is specifically, I'm talking here to food security.
Well, we give ourselves 2 years. Why 2 years? First of all, you have to change attitude. Mind's got to be changed. The residents of Region 10 over time just focus on mining, either mining bauxite, mining gold. Some were farmers because of the lack of funding, they gone into mining. So it's twofold. This catalyst, this program that will help to boost agriculture is to say to people, look, agriculture could make it. But at the same time, we have training, we going out in the community, talk to people, we lending support to clear land, etc. It's a big program. It will take some time to change minds back to returning to the land. It's a big project.
Let's move to the issue of unemployment. And I know this is not only in your region, but it's a big issue for Guyana, especially where the youth are concerned. Unemployment, how do you plan to, or how can you tackle unemployment for that region?
Well, first of all, I had talks with various ministries, and we are talking about employment first in the short to medium term. We have discussed the residents of Region 10 doing the cleaning of the entire highway. The previous government brought contractors from everywhere to clean the highway. Now I'm saying if we, the RDC, get a contract to clean the highway 35 miles, and we clean like 15 feet from the shoulder, from just the curb of the road, I am thinking in terms of jobs about 200 to 300 persons. We talk about 35 miles. In the short term, we're looking at CDCs. Our community has run down. If we could have CDCs working together to clean the community, that's another plus. The other areas, what I've noticed is that the cleaning of schools, government buildings, here again you had one group of people controlling everything. I said on TV about 3 days ago that this will spread across the community. The person with slashers who hadn't the opportunity to get a job, they purchase a slasher, they don't get a job. So this will spread across the region. But let's look to the medium and the long term. And this is a capital investment. If you look at Region 10 where we're located, we have comparative advantage to do certain things that some regions don't have. We're looking at a bitumen plant in Region 10. I want you to follow me here. If you purchase hot mix in Georgetown, by the time it reaches Linden, it's cold. There is additional cost to bring it back to that softness to use. Then your transportation costs. Then I know for sure His Excellency has a plan that you should be able to drive from Georgetown to Region 9. If we put a bitumen plant in Region 10, where we have the aggregates, we have land, we have sand, we have stone. So we are well placed. Think about this also. 125 miles of road in Region 10 needs doing.
All right, pause right there. Putting the plan in if we have that bitumen plant there, you talked about the materials that you already have.
Yes.
Are there beginnings of it in existence at all, or is this something we would have to start from scratch?
This is something we're starting from scratch. This is an investment that we're starting from scratch. It was always in our minds, but you never had listening ears from the previous government. Hence, we're looking at 200 to 300 ton per hour continuous production. As I said, we have the aggregates there. This might look like a big sum or a big figure, but if you sit down and work the economics of this thing out, that we could service Region 7, 8, and 9, Madhya, the roads, Kokwani, Linden, Aichuni, Kokwani, and all the roads, this would be a powerful investment. And we are not only talking to government, we're talking to private people at the moment. While it is in our budget, we're also talking to private people.
And you're talking to these private people without necessarily going through government to get to them.
Yes, just talking to them, sharing the idea, hearing their views, would you want to be a part, etc.
What type, I mean, I know you can't, if they're urine talks, you can't necessarily give out too much, but what sentiments have you been getting? What sort of feedback have you been getting so far?
Region 10 would love to have a major capital investment. We haven't had one for number of years.
This brings me immediately to bauxite.
Yes.
What's happening? Yes, because when you're talking about bitumen plant, and for some reason you can correct me if I'm wrong here. When you're talking about that plant, I'm just thinking about bauxite in my head, thinking that it can have the same purpose that the bauxite company used to have. Let's talk about bauxite. What's happening?
Okay. The bauxite company currently employs about 600 persons. If you notice in the papers, I went in the news quite often, it relates to retrenchment. They're complaining about marketing and a whole lot of stuff. They would have brought figures to me, which I rejected because they weren't audited figures. But Region 10 has vast reserves of bauxite. I am calling on my government, one, to review the contract that BOSA is currently working under, and to open up bauxite in Linden to other investors. I went on the net, and I'm looking at there are other persons who would want to get into bauxite. And I'm taking this leap to talk to some of these people as soon as I go back, to talk to some of these companies that would want to invest in bauxite. Bauxite is too big for BOSA. Hence, there are other companies willing to invest in bauxite. So why should, I don't know the terms of reference of the contract. Maybe the contract say only BOSA, I don't know. That's why I'm saying my government need to review the contract with a view, and this is not just for the residents of Region 10, this is national. If we have two companies taking out more bauxite, more money to the national coffers, more jobs in Region 10, the migration from Region 10 of Lindeners to other parts of Region 10, there will be a reverse. People would want to come back into Linden because work is there. So bauxite, there are good prospects for bauxite.
You did say earlier, we did acknowledge that, yes, you've been on the news, you've been in the media lately, and you continue to talk about bauxite and what needs to be done, and you just said it yourself. Thus far, what sort of reaction, whether it be promise or just discussions, you've had from our government regarding the bauxite industry in Linden?
First of all, at my swearing in, His Excellency the President did say that what he's expecting from regions is not the normal, you just ask some money on the program, a project head or program head. What he's expecting is a program coming out of the region. When I went to the training program, the Honorable Ronald Bulkan did repeat those same words. He said, what you'd want to see from regions is a program coming out of the region. We're looking at a sustainable, integrated development program for Region 10. Because if you check, The natural resources and even the capital investment, they all have a link. You can't do one and then wait 10 years to do another. There's a link. So it's integrated. So our approach is to take, for example, look at roads. The farmer, to get to the farm, he has a bad road, costs will go up for the consumer that is purchasing. The hire car driver will charge more to passengers if he's destroying his vehicle. So the whole business of development is integrated. So I love the fact that from His Excellency the President and from the Minister, they're both speaking about a program. And trust me, Region 10 people are ready to see a developmental program that we haven't seen for the past 2 decades in Region 10.
All right, let's move on now to the new television station, the Broadcasting Inc. What will last week, the former chairman of Region 10, Mr. Sharma Solomon, he talked extensively on what is expected and so on, and what that, since he's a director on the board, what that will do for the people of Region 10. What are you expecting, and what can your office contribute to the Broadcasting Inc. in terms of bringing satisfaction and change to the people of Region 10?
One, what it would allow for, while I wasn't here when Mr. Sharma made his presentation, what it would allow for is the dissemination of news faster, more readily to the people of Region 10. And I could tell you that the RDC stand ready in whatever way that is required. Once we have the capacity and the resources, we stand ready to support that TV station. But there's something I missed that I should go back to.
Go ahead.
The fact that we're asked to do a developmental program for your region, we need technical people based in the region. We don't want to have to, you want an engineer, you have to call to Georgetown. Here's what we need in Region 10. For our program, we would need a hydraulics engineer, and we need somebody that is a specialist in the area of marketing. We have to court investors. We have to court persons. While I was coming, I got a call from an individual who was saying, you know what? Their group of people heard you, they want to talk to you concerning the bitumen plant. As the chairman of Region 10, the amount of things I have to do on a daily basis, forget qualifications and all of that. You're not Houdini. I would need somebody that will sit down 24/7, look at the business, look at the plan, speak to the Minister of Business in Georgetown and all the other agencies and get all this thing tied up. So we need to see, in the region, especially Region 10, I would want to have, and I'm writing all of the powers that be. We want somebody, a professional in the area of marketing, and we want to have a professional hydraulic engineer. Region 10, based on our topography, sand is a lot of erosion, etc., water and sand, so we need those type of skills.
In saying that you need that, it in a sense brings me to what I wanted to talk about a little later on. Of course, that is youth development, youth contribution. Now, yes, there's an absence of these technical people currently in the region. Will there eventually be provisions made for youth development in certain academic areas without having them leave Region 10 to come to Georgetown? And are you saying that you have none at all, none of these technical
human
resources?
I'm not saying you don't have none. Let me tell you what I've done. I have asked the young Member of Parliament, the Honorable Figueroa, to lead a youth team in Region 10. He will not be directed by the RDC. While he reports to the RDC his work, and we stand ready to support what they're doing, so he would have already put together a team of young people who are professionals, engineers, etc., etc. And they will be working towards the development of young people. Sometimes we, the adults, get so much caught up with adult things, so to speak. So they're working, and I could tell you, they're looking to have a multi-purpose youth center based at Wisma. They're looking to have a regional youth award program. For the past 23 years, we haven't set our young people. Thanks for bringing in 9 subjects CXC. Thanks for volunteering at the hospital. Thanks for being, you understand, we are yet to say to our young people, we support what you're doing, we love what you're doing, we want to encourage. So they're saying, look, they want to do a youth award program. It's not just limited to academic. But even in faith-based organizations, the young people have excelled in drama, in arts, in music, etc., you name it. We would want to have this award program to say to our young people, we are with you, we're supporting what we're doing, and next year we want to have a bigger program, and this is to let you know that we are with you. And this is being run and managed by a youthful member of parliament, Mr. Figueroa, and his youth team.
All right. Let's now talk a bit more about, well, you did outline what you're going to be doing for youth in terms of training and all of that. What are some of the other areas that you feel lacking and you can put in a plan to say, well, I want to get this done or this achieved within the next year of my tenure?
I heard from the women's group in Region 10 that they are looking for a home for battered women. While we're working with the police and all the agencies, we haven't yet, in any of our regions, have seen a decrease, any marginal or large decrease. So women are being battered continually. And that woman have to go back into the same home, and maybe find herself at a friend's home. So from the RDC, we are looking to make a building available that could be brought up to speed with all of the amenities that battered women could find a place. Likewise, this very week, some children in Region 10 that form part of the town councils, I think is a daycare center. The building is falling apart. They made approach to me and, look, we want to use a building from the RDC. And right, we need to understand, development is not the town council, it's not the RDC alone, it's not health, it's a collective process. And wherever we could facilitate development in Region 10, even at times if it's outside of our mandate, once we don't break the law, and we could move to enhance life in Region 10, the RDC will play a role. So we're making a building available to the town council to have the children housed while the building is being repaired. And we're working with the women to make certain that the building will be made available, that the battered women could be there.
What is the assistance like in terms of your staff and your officials helping you on the ground? Because earlier you did talk about the fact that Renis Morian can't be here and then doing training at the same time. And you talked a lot about what your plans are and what you want to do. What is your office assistance like?
Well, if you understand the configuration of the RDC, you have the political arm and the executing arm. And let me tell you what happened. Just Monday, the regional executive officer went off on leave. I never knew she was going on leave. The staff never knew that. But this happened in the midst of budgetary presentations that had to get to the RDC on Thursday. This happened when we were looking at tender documents, etc. But I will tell you, the staff from the administration, they were there 7 and 8 o'clock in the night. We worked together. I got all the support to make certain that yesterday, which was Thursday, that the preliminary budget presentation was made to the RDC. So I commend them in the RDC, I commend the staff for their work. Apart from that, the vice chairman normally would be based in Linden, but we find it prudent to have the vice chairman based at Kokwani. Now that has happened, if I step out of the office, there is no chairman. Hence, I have two counselors. While school, one is a teacher, one is waiting for a job. So while school is out and he's waiting for a job, they're there with me volunteering every single day, Monday to Friday, trying to help. The point is, people at the point now where they want change. Hence, if I lend support will bring change, change will be there. As I said, my only discomfort is to discover that right within the RDC, and mostly women, you have people earning $14,000 a month. And if we're going to finish with budget just now, it's an issue I will address. But there's something else I want to add.
Before you add, in terms of the $14,000 a month, so you already have stuff on paper to say that these people that their wages should increase.
I have already got a list of all the names. First of all, as soon as I got there, I asked for a list of the entire staff. Designations, etc. And every morning I go in and make my rounds, I walk through the building and then come back to my office. But I have two sets of documents related to the staff. And it's appalling looking at staff, people like myself, earning $14,000 a month, while some people go to the store and buy a track boot for $25,000. So you need to understand it's something I have to change and change very quickly. I know this is not the focus of the government, of people being underpaid. So that will have to change. From when? Back pay from when? I don't want to get into that.
Yeah,
But what I
don't
know
expect you to.
is that I want to change. But I need to drop this in.
Sure.
I want to make an appeal on behalf of the traffic ranks on Linden Highway. And I don't mind which ministry. I'm making an appeal to the Ministry of the Presidency. All the ministries are making an appeal. Now, the traffic ranks on Linden Highway, the work that they do save lives. I lost a son on Linden Highway. My only son at that time on Linden Highway. They have one vehicle. I am appealing to all the ministries, cutting across ministries, assist our traffic ranks. Don't let us wait until there's a big accident, then we are fighting a fire. I'm appealing on behalf of the traffic ranks. They need another vehicle. When I go to Region 10, first in my life in 1973, we had 3 cars on the highway. There's one. I'm appealing for one more vehicle to save lives. Lives of the people living on the highway and lives of the people in Region 10. That's my appeal.
All right, sir. One final thing before I certainly have to let you go. The people of Linden are known to be very strong, and they are very adamant of standing up for their rights and what they believe in. Unfortunately, in the past, we have seen protests on various issues coming from them, sometimes even against your own office. Of course, this would have been before you became regional chairman. Are there measures being put in place to have a more close-knit relationship with the people on the ground so that their concerns can be addressed when they're raised, not until the people start suffering for whatever reason, whatever issue, that, you know, they have to be out and about stuff? Do you have measures in place to address people immediately?
I would tell you what, we're in the fields quite often. And I see on television, my office is open all the time. You don't need an appointment. I'm a servant of the people. I'm here to serve. And I could tell you this. On a personal note now, there were a lot of divisions. I've went to people personally as a Christian and say, if I have wronged you in any way, even though I know I didn't wrong them, but based on the word of God, and I've been encouraging my counselors and others, reach out to people. And I could tell you, I'm seeing a big turnaround. The people of Linden really don't want war, you know. The people of Linden want development. And once you could deliver, I am at a situation right now where I have talked the talk. I need now to walk the walk that the residents of Region 10 see things start to happen. I want to see monies released in the community for the short term to get the short term projects on. Things in Region 10 are very, very tight. I should want to use a different word, scary. And I'm asking them to hold. Hence, I want to see monies released, that the pressure that the people of Linden have been on for so many years, too long, I need to see that pressure released.
Well, certainly the new government will ensure that that pressure is decreased significantly. Mr. Renis Morian, thank you very much. It was a pleasure having you here on Facing the Nation today.
Well, for me, I'm happy to be here because I want the Linden story, the Region 10 story, to be known across the length and breadth of Ghana.
Thank you very much, sir. Of course, viewers, have been chatting with Chairman of Region 10, Mr. Renis Morian. Coming up on the other side of this very quick and short break will be, of course, as I promised you earlier, the Minister of Social Protection is already here, Mrs. Volda Lawrence, and she will be here to talk about some of the work that she's been doing and some of what we can expect coming from her ministry as the new government works to bring relief to the people of our country. Stay tuned. Thank you, sir. Tell him keep playing it until Mark says. Welcome back, and of course, thanks for staying with us. I know, well, now is the time that you've all been waiting for, because you've been seeing that this lady, this young lady, as I would call her, she's been very, very busy since APNU, the APNU AFC government took office, and almost every week I made it a duty to bring you clips of some of the work that she's been doing, because I feel this ministry is a very important one. Not that the other ministries are not important, but this is a ministry that has been interacting or should be interacting with the people on the ground, touching and feeling. And this particular minister has been doing just that, visiting homes and, even the various post offices as we begin to, at the end of each month, of course, as the pensions are distributed, just to get a feel of what it is that our people really and truly experience. So this is the first time I'm speaking with her publicly since she has been elevated to the Ministry of Social Protection as Minister of Social Protection, Mrs. Volda Lawrence. Welcome, Minister, and thank you very much for coming, and congratulations on your post.
Thank you, Malika, and it's good to be here.
All right, great to have you back. Now, Minister Lawrence, the public has been seeing that you've been doing a lot, but before we even talk about that, what are some of the things that you think need to be done immediately to bring relief to our people, especially specifically to your ministry?
Okay, Malika, your program does not have enough time for me to tell you of all the areas which we need to address, but I just want to take this opportunity to thank all the persons out there who put their confidence in the APNU AFC coalition and have given persons like me the opportunity to serve at a higher level. I want to thank you very much for that. Malika, the Ministry of Social Protection. New name, but basically it is covering all that has been covered under the Ministry of Human Services and Social Services and Labor. First, I have sought to have an analysis of what is taking place in the ministry. I know of the services because I have been shadowing this ministry for over 17 years. So I know of the services which the ministry provides. But even in the opposition, I knew that the people were not getting the best that they ought to get. And so my first initiative was to ensure that I met with the staff, that I see where they're working, the conditions that they're working under, to understand the gaps within the structure, and to have a first-hand view of what is taking place, how it is taking place, so that when we sit to review the 2015 budget, I can be able to point my questions to the various departmental heads so that I can derive the answers that I would need in order to address the issues that I would have confronted, having gone around to the various places which falls under the umbrella of the ministry. Having done so, I haven't done so completely. I still have two more places to go to.
Okay.
But as we stand right now, I can tell you that there is a lot of restructuring to be done within the ministry. I believe that if the ministry does not have the capacity, then it cannot meet the needs of the people out there. It cannot fully represent the services which is expected of the ministry. And so that is one of my main focus, to ensure that we build capacity within the ministry to provide the service. Secondly, I wanted to look at who are the persons that we really provide this service to, and how are we really meeting the needs of those persons, and whether what we are doing is impacting on the lives of these persons. And you have mentioned that I went around to the post office. I'm very sorry, but the elderly is very close to my heart. One day I'll become an elder too. But I know of their issues, and so I wanted to see whether it was the ministry's shortcoming or whether it was the shortcoming of the agency that is contracted to provide the service, where the problem lies. And so I've been out to the post offices, and I have been able to see firsthand and hear from the seniors what are the issues affecting them, and also to get suggestions from them as to how we can remedy the situation. I can tell you that presently, just before I came here, I met with an organization, and I am meeting with several organizations to look at one of the programs that can be implemented to remedy the situation with the pensioners, with the public assistance persons, with and also to extend to the persons who are fostering our children across the length and breadth of Guyana. Okay. There must be some symbol of order in which we do things. And while we ask people for help, and we're supposed to provide for those people who help us to carry out our mandate, we have to ensure that the systems that we're using are ones that can bring relief and not ones that can be a humbug to what we set out to do. Thirdly, or this is fourthly, no. I looked at the capacity and whether the government have the money to meet the needs in terms of the areas in which the ministry have to focus on, because the team and the hope and our goal as a government is to ensure that everyone enjoys a good life in Guyana. And whether my ministry, who is tasked with the day-to-day interaction with people with those issues that hamper them from enjoying a good life, whether we can do it alone. And I can say to you, the answer is no. The government cannot do it alone. And hence, we have to reach out to civil society. And I have engaged the NGOs, and the NGOs have engaged me. And I can say this publicly, and I'm happy to say it, that my ministry will be a ministry that will work with and partner with the NGOs out there, because that is the way we'll be able to meet our mandate. And I look forward to doing that. As a result of that, in September, we are going to have a retreat with NGOs that is presently being planned to meet with them, so we can formulate a methodology and how we're going to interact, what are the burning issues and so on, and how we'll be able to work in partnership to address the issues. I believe that if we do that, then the NGOs will understand the plan and the focus of the ministry in addressing the social issues, which they themselves are trying as far as they can find funding to address. But if we can do it collectively, I believe that we'll be able to achieve our objective, and that is what we're working towards. And so we're looking to set up a body whereby we'll be able to work with them. They'll help us to achieve our objective, and we will be able to get one of the most important elements that will help us in our planning, and that is data.
Yes, I noticed, I read somewhere that you talked about the importance of having data to carry out your work.
That is data. Right now, we are reactive. Something happens, whether it's in the labor market, whether it's in the social stream, and we are reacting to that.